representative on the steering committee since then. So currently we're recruiting sophomores or 10th graders who live or attend school in Howard County for our class of 2021. And just as a reminder, we will be recording this session, and please feel free to use the chat feature to ask any questions during the presentation, which we'll answer at the end. But I'd like to start our program by sharing with you all what I've taken.
I don't use Zoom.
Okay. I'd like to share with you all what I've taken away from my Leadership U experience. I have a lot of friends that I've kept in touch with since graduating from the program over a year ago. And some of them have said that they found a boost in their confidence or public speaking skills. Others took away internships or career advice from people that we met. And some even felt particularly connected to or continued the community service projects that we completed through the program. So I think that everyone gets something different out of the program, and what I got out of it was the opportunity to meet and work with such incredible people. And so it'll actually be 2 years since I interviewed for the program in a couple of weeks, and the biggest thing that I can say is that the structure of the program is built to create an extremely unique environment for each individual, while still allowing to teach teamwork and communication with all the unique individuals that it brings together. And with that, I'd like to introduce the President and CEO of Leadership Howard County, Stacy Hunt.
Good evening, everybody. I'm pleased to be here with you. Hold on one second. There we go. We're excited to have you be a part of learning about what this program might be able to do for you and what you might be able to get out of it. And I want to take a quick second to talk a little bit about what is Leadership Howard County and Leadership U. And so Leadership Howard County is a nonprofit that started in 1986. We graduated our first class. We came from the Chamber of Commerce, and we are not part of the county government or the school system, but we are an individual nonprofit that is actually similar to over 800 different community leadership programs across the country. And what our role in this community is to empower individuals to strengthen and transform our community. And we do this by our educational programming to let you learn about the community and also strengthen and develop your own leadership skills. And ultimately, what we hope that will do is allow Howard County to be the best place to live, work, and play. And then we also encourage, once you've completed our programs, to find a way to take your place and to get involved in the different ways of, being on boards, committees, councils, and commissions. And that includes members from our high school program, along with our 2 adult programs, which are, we have a Leadership Premier program for senior level businesses and business people and civic and nonprofit leaders, and that have demonstrated a history of involvement in the past. And we also have a Leadership Essentials program, which is for emerging leaders that we run in partnership with Loyola University, Maryland, which has been around since 1996. And Leadership U, Leadership U is what started in 1996, and that has over 800 students that have graduated from it and over 120 community service projects. And so once you've graduated, we want to help you find your way to get involved in the community. And we also take pride in providing alumni programming, which allows people to stay connected and learn what else is going on in the community, hot topics, and networking opportunities. And so tonight, I get to introduce to you one of the members of our alumni who has stayed involved, has taken her place. This is Eileen Harity, and she is the co-chair of the Leadership U Steering Committee. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you, Stacy. Welcome to everyone who's learning about our Leadership U program. As Stacy mentioned, I'm a graduate of Leadership Premier back in 2008, and shortly after that, I joined the Leadership U Steering Committee because I have an avocation and a real passion for working with students. And for the last few years, have helped with Karen Sherry and doing a co-chairing for the committee, and very much enjoyed it. I've also had 2 children who've gone through the program, so I also have that parent view, and both of my kids got something different from it, but benefited greatly. So I'll be talking about the goals and what we strive to provide for your students. re-emphasizing some of what Nikita said, and I'll talk a little bit about Summer Week. So Leadership U is a very unique program. It's a very experiential program that is not designed that each student learns and takes from it the same. As Nikita said, each student has a different experience and can make of it their own, especially since they are involved with other students and they provide a service project that could be very unique to some of the others. It also helps to develop their leadership skills. But what we do aim to do, as Stacy said, is help students find a way to take their place, hopefully in Howard County. These are students who live or are attending school here, but certainly they're going to take this when they move out of Howard County into their lives after this. So these students do attend public, private, and home schools, and they're applying in sophomore year. The program begins in the summer following sophomore, so between sophomore and junior year. And our goal is really to represent all of the schools and the different types of schools, home schools, public and private schools. So all 12 public schools we're trying to get represented. We accept 50 students, 25 males and 25 females. So why should you want to belong? And this is really something that we want the student to want to do. Hopefully both a parent and the student want to do this, but there are so many people that want to belong to this. It really will benefit somebody who comes into it with an open mind and really takes from it many of the benefits that we talk about. It can help build your confidence. We've had students who are not necessarily extroverts, and afterwards we hear from parents often and from the students themselves that they've been able to open up some. It helps them raise an awareness of their strengths, their lesser strengths, as I like to call them, and then to build on that. They can build their leadership skills, their problem solving skills, as well as teamwork with other students that they work with. They're learning about Howard County. They're learning that Howard County, though it's one of the top counties in the country, we still have our challenges. We still have people who are very needy, and there are opportunities to help these folks in our own county. One of the best things about the program that I really like is that it's student driven, and you learn by doing, and you learn by failing at times. This isn't something that we ask and want everybody to be successful in. Some of the biggest lessons we learn, as we as adults know it from our own personal and work lives, or from our failures. And this is a non-threatening, very safe environment to do this in. And you make a difference here right in Howard County. You can also, as Nikita mentioned, network, build your professional resume. You get contacts. We've had students who've gotten internships and connections that help them with either internships or possibly jobs in the future. And you, in the end, really just have a lot of fun. So our schedule, the next slide, really is from June to December. It's pictured here. If you want to take a picture of it, that's fine. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but really with the forms for application references and tuition assistance being due March 11th, you're notified in early May. Meg's going to go into a little bit more detail about that. And then this slide gives the picture of the program from the start at orientation to our graduation on December 9th. And Anne is going to go a little bit more in depth along with those. I would note that we do have mandatory dates and Sunday sessions that still have to be scheduled in April, as COVID and the guidelines that we're going to be under are a little more firm. So Summer Week, that really is the kickoff for the actual program itself, with the students spending a week together, participating as much as we can. It was altered a little bit in the last year because of COVID, but we did have some hands-on learning. It was socially distanced appropriately. Some of it was by video on Zoom. But we were able to visit some organizations around Howard County. Some of the visits were on Zoom, and they have been provided with videos of their organizations, and they're still able to give a good picture of the program. We meet a lot of leaders from the community. It may be a hybrid again, depending on the restrictions from the governor and Dr. Ball, but this week is mandatory. Begins Sunday afternoon and Monday at Terrapin Adventures. That's really getting the students to know each other. And then it's about 8:30 to 4:30 for the rest of the week, Monday through Friday, Sunday evening, and then Monday through Friday. We focus on a different topic and kind of, in addition to team building, look at healthcare, meet the president or vice president, and tour the hospital, possibly virtually. Again, that's definitely going to be virtual again. The Howard County government, you meet county council representatives. We learn about our local government. We visit the detention center. Again, this could be virtual. Economic development Shark Tank activity. And as last year, we had an Elk Ridge 50+ center virtual visit. And we're fortunate enough to be able to provide a health and human services fair where we're able to bring anywhere from 12 or so organizations, nonprofit organizations in Howard County and their leaders, and they're able to talk to the students and about their programs. And this is one of the ways that they can learn what is available here in Howard County and some of the populations that are served. Sometimes these programs become a focus of one of the service projects. And we learn about diversity and inclusion, networking, and other leadership skills. On the last day of that week, on Friday, that's the day that they brainstorm what they want to have as their topics. It is in person and socially distanced, but we were able to manage that very well, and they were able to vote and come up with 7 topics for community service projects, and then break into their teams and be partnered with an adult mentor. Ann Santos is going to talk to you a little bit more about these Sunday sessions in the fall.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm Ann Santos, and I am I'm the recruiting chair for the Leadership U Steering Committee. I am a graduate of Leadership Premier, class of 2017, most epic class ever. And my son was a 2019 graduate of Leadership U. My section here is what parents need to know. And if I could have the next slide when you have a moment. We will start with your Sunday sessions. And, before I start here, you're going to hear from actually a classmate of mine at Oakland Mills at the end. But, from a parent perspective, this program is invaluable. There is a time commitment, there is an investment, but what you get out of it is, enormous compared to what you get into it. So I won't steal Erica's thunder. That's not what Scorps do, but wanted to talk to you a little bit about Sundays. They're going to meet 9 of them from August to December. And the big thing that they're doing is working on their project. Maybe some time outside of that. You'll see in this picture, they are outside as they delivered one of their projects. So as they raise funds or get supplies together or have to put a flyer together, any of you adults on the call or students, you'll know these things take a little bit of extra time, but it's not dramatic. There are 2 of these meetings per month. And as of right now, we don't know yet whether, given the COVID, as Eileen said, restrictions from the governor, restrictions from Dr. Ball, be sensitive to that. The class who just went through this was very flexible, very adaptable. They were able to get everything done in the hybrid format. So would not be concerned about that. I will tell you one of the meetings that is required is December 5th, and we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly as to why December 5th is so important. But you're going to use this time to work on your teams, work in teams and work on your projects. You can have 1 excused absence. We know things happen. You win the championship, whatever's going on. But you do need to notify Meg in advance, the Leadership U director. The other thing that you need to do is you need to notify your team members and you need to notify your mentor. Because if you think about it, this is a meeting. This is a serious meeting. If you're not going to show up, For whatever the reason, you need to let that team know and know how you're going to cover the work. So it is a group project. The other thing I will tell you, and I think you'll hear this as a theme, absolutely student-led. While they have a mentor and you will get some leadership lessons in this timing, they're there to guide you, not direct you. You're not getting a playbook. You're getting advice, you're getting guidance, you're getting contacts. The steering committee members, we usually help volunteer at a couple of these. These are the most fun sessions to sit through because the kids are together as a group, brainstorming, throwing out ideas. No idea is a bad one. It's a terrific process to watch and to work through. And then those leadership lessons, it's everything you can think of. How to send a proper email, how to network, how to contact. Myself as an adult, there are things I would have loved to have known. And as I've sat in these Sunday sessions for the last couple of years, I learned something every time. So absolutely time well spent, time dedicated to the projects. I do see a question in the chat, and Meg, let me know whether you want me to answer questions or wait.
Let's wait to the end.
Okay, hold that to the end, thank you. So those are our Sunday sessions. Let's talk a little bit about a very cool part of the program, which is graduation. And you see here on the slide, this was graduation for 2020, which was held via Zoom. You do have the video on the website that you can take a look at it. It's posted on Facebook Live. It is absolutely the best celebration. I've had the fortune to both attend the virtual one and the live ones. It's everybody, you know, just celebrating all of the hard work. It's a lot of fun. You know, folks from the school system come, there's a ton of cheering and all of that. So we do celebrate this formally with that graduation, and you will really enjoy that. So last up, what parents need to know. Key dates, they're going to be updated on the Leadership U website once they're confirmed. Do know that some of the days may be virtual. There will be an orientation on June 2nd. You know, the other theme I would tell you here is the Leadership Howard County team prepares, over prepares, double checks, over communicates, everything you can think of. You will never be uninformed with what you need to know. The other thing I will tell you is the communication is very student-led. So the students are just as responsible as the parents. This is not, I as a parent did not have to remind my son. Occasionally I would say to him, I think you might need something from me. But, you know, Meg had absolutely reached out to them, and she follows up and she follows up again to ensure she gets all of those responses. So you will have some virtual. One piece here, the second bullet, since we have rising juniors, you will need to arrange for transportation. That is not part of the program. And definitely think about the transportation in the summer because you're going to different places on different days. Terrapin is out at Savage Mill. If we're able to do the government live, that's in Ellicott City. Those Sunday meetings, the locations will be determined. Previously, we've been able to use some of the libraries, rec and parks. You know, we're not taking you out of the state, out of the county, those kinds of things, but you will need transportation if your student is not driving yet. The other thing I will tell you is you absolutely need to be on time, dropping off and picking up during that summer week and that Sunday meeting. Meg will stay, and she will literally wait until the last car has left the parking lot. However, you know, her time is valuable too, so please do make sure that you're on time. Great news, it's not on the slide, but we are looking at breakfast, lunch, and snacks are included. So we do feed the students during the program. And from a parent perspective, you see you've got 3 things on the bottom. Orientation on June 2nd, so put that on your calendar now. Meet the Mentor meeting, looks like that would be virtual. That's October 5th. And then graduation, and put the big red star around that one. That would be on December 9th. So that is a small piece of what parents need to know. Enough about me. Let us turn to our students. And I believe Shavari is up first. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherbury Throedker, and I'm a junior at River Hill High School. I was a part of the Leadership U class of 2020, and I'm now a student representative on the steering committee. For me, Leadership U provided an incredible opportunity to expand my network. Not only did I get to meet community leaders, representatives from nonprofits from across the county throughout summer week, but I also got to establish connections with peers from different schools, an opportunity that I hadn't really had before. Being able to work with my team members allowed me to learn how to play to everyone's strengths in order to ensure that our final product was the best that it could be. LU Summer Week taught me a lot about myself, the type of leader that I am, and how to use my strengths to gain confidence when presenting and sharing my ideas. Summer Week also really opened my eyes to the various issues that our community faces every day. For me, a virtual poverty simulation that we participated in during Summer Week had a real impact because it allowed me to understand just how many things someone has to take into consideration when budgeting and the extent of food insecurity in Howard County, which is an issue that isn't really discussed but is prevalent. This ultimately encouraged me to work on a community service project targeted at alleviating food insecurity. Our success with the project built my confidence, and it really allowed me to see that even a group of teenagers can have a significant impact on the community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nico Drummond, and I'm a junior at Howard High School. One of the biggest takeaways that I went away from Leadership U with was the melding of different strengths and personalities. On one of the first nights of summer week, we did a personality test where we were split up into 4 different personalities categorized by color. Sort of working like a Hogwarts house type of thing. Okay, so we have reds, which are determined, competitive, strong-willed, driven. Blues, which are logical, organized, questioning, cautious. Greens, who are caring, encouraging, patient, and sharing. And yellows, who are motivated, enthusiastic, dynamic, and inspiring. Okay, so we have these 4 different groups, and we're separated into these groups on the first night. You're reds, you're yellows, you're blues. And we find out and sort of learn about how we as colors, personalities, people work, behave, interact. But then once we are split into our small groups of 6, 7, 8 different people, all working together on a community service project, we get this really cool thing where we start to mix the colors. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of your demanding and a little bit of your enthusiasm and maybe a little bit of your analytical skills and mix them all together and make this beautiful new color. And it's really, really cool to see that happen throughout the group project. And it's cool to develop those skills within yourself and learn about your character and personality. And it's something that's really, really unique to Leadership U, and I think is going to be one of the biggest takeaways that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. So enjoy and look forward to that, and keep that in the back of your mind.
Great, thank you, Nico. I'm gonna, good evening, everybody. My name is Meg Ignacio. I'm the director of Leadership U, so the students spend a great deal of time with me. I'm gonna review the process of applying for Leadership U. First, I wanna go over our key recruitment dates. We're coming upon our application, reference, and tuition assistance deadline, which is March 11th. And then interviews will be the end of March. We will be selecting our class the end of April, and students will find out in May. So this information will be readily available. I'll be emailing out to everyone who's attended our information sessions, but wanted to give you a good overview of our key recruitment dates. Parents and students will need to make a decision regarding whether they will actually, if they're accepted, will accept the position into the program by May 15th. So that's really the actual deadline. So let's talk a little bit about the application process. As you should know, applications are online. They are due no later than March 11th. They're not that complex. You can go on and look at them. You can look at the questions. There are 8 short answer questions. We do score them, so we would like you to put some effort and quality into your writing. You do not need to write, a novel to answer each question, but we do we are looking for some detailed content, and we were looking for some answers to the questions that are there. There are no right or wrong answers. They're the kinds of questions that you could answer anyway, but we do need some detail. It shouldn't take that long to do them. Some of them are probably longer than others, and it's really a way for us to get to know you, to see what your interests are, what kind of activities that you're involved with. And so it really shouldn't take you that long. We do score both the applications and the interviews. The references are required. There are 2 that are required. It's probably a good idea, since it is March 2nd, to consider asking your references as soon as possible, tomorrow maybe, because you do want to give them enough time to submit a good quality reference for you. You have to have one from school and one from outside of school. It cannot be a family member. And you want to, when you fill out your application, you actually will be identifying your reference, but it really is the responsibility of the student to contact that reference and provide our link on our website for them to submit the reference for you. It's probably a really good idea to, when you ask your reference, to give them give them the link to our website in order for they would understand like what the program is and like what you're applying for. It just gives them really a frame of what kind of program you're trying to get yourself into. The interviews will be group interviews. We will do both in person and virtual. We'll do 2 days of both. We can adapt that if we need to, depending on how many applicants we get. At this point, we do expect all students to be interviewed. If we do get a hefty number of applicants that might be unmanageable, then we may select students in advance to be interviewed, do an initial selection, but we haven't done that in the past, so we're hoping we can interview everybody. They are in groups of 2 to 3 students. It just makes it easier for us to interview, and it's a little more efficient for everybody's time. If you do select a virtual interview, it will be through Zoom, like what we're using right now, and we will send out a notification for you to be able to sign up through Sign Up Genius. And we also will send you some tips and things like that before the interview. So you'll have everything you need to know beforehand. We like students to dress in business casual attire. And that would be something that for gentlemen, it might be a collared shirt. Obviously, if you're on Zoom, the waist down doesn't really matter, but from waist up, you want to look professional. You want to look your best. Many students have never had an interview before, so really it's the first time that they have done something like this, so it's important to really look your best. We will be doing them the week of March 29th, Monday through Thursday right now. I think school is closed on Friday and the following Monday, and then if we need additional times, we can do them April 7th through the 9th. The interviews are around 25 minutes long. We actually will start them at 4 o'clock, not 3 o'clock. That may change depending on what's going on with the school schedule. It's been a little fluid, but we will be going till about 8:15 in the evenings, not 6:30. So we will make sure we get all the interviews done. As you submit your application, we will send out the link to Sign Up Genius, and the first students that actually submit their applications will get first crack at the schedule. So there is a benefit to getting your application in early. Right now, we're going to start sending out the Sign Up Genius for students who have already submitted their applications this week to get them to sign up for their interviews. So acceptance will be hopefully by May 1st. I don't see that to be a problem so far. We will send it through to you and your parents through email. Students will either be accepted, not be accepted, or will be waitlisted for the program. We typically have a few students that may get accepted and then they decide not to do the program due to scheduling conflicts or commitment, or they want to do something else in the summer. So we have over the past few years taken a student or two off of our wait list. And then we do have a mandatory orientation on June 2nd for one parent and the students. This may be virtual. Right now, group sizes can't be more than 10 in the county. So we'll just have to wait and see and be flexible and see if we can meet in person. It's seeming unlikely to me at this point, but worst case, we will do it through Zoom and make the best of the situation. The program does have a cost to it. It is $995 for the 4-month program. We do have tuition assistance and payment plans available. When you submit your application, you can submit a tuition assistance form requesting whatever amount of money you need. We typically will try to give students whatever monies they need for the program, the accepted students. We do have a large number of private donors. We have different scholarships designated for different types of students. And so we really want to make sure students do not have any financial barriers to our program. So don't let that be a reason why you don't consider applying to Leadership U. So now I'm going to turn it over to one of our parents, Erica Roberts. Her son, Reese, graduated from Leadership U with Nico and Shervery in December of 2020. And she's going to share a little bit about the parent experience.
Thank you, Meg. And yes, again, my name is Erica Roberts, and my son, Reese, was in the last graduating class of 2020. And just wanted to give a little bit of insight of my thoughts and what I've seen from my son being a part of the program. One thing that I noticed was just his confidence growing in terms of public speaking. Us being in a virtual setting right now with school, I've been able to listen to some of his classes, and right after the holidays, beginning of the year, he had a project that he needed to do. And I heard the teacher say, "Who wants to go first?" And you hear that pause that you always hear. And then I was very surprised that my son initiated and said, "I will go first." And I do attribute a lot of that in terms of his confidence growing from being a part of Leadership U. Also, what I've noticed with my son was the fact that he's been able to learn how to work cohesively in a group of his peers, not just his buddies, but his peers. So he, in a lot of situations at school, he's very comfortable, he's very familiar with his classmates, but being a part of Leadership U, he was able to meet students from so many different schools, whether it's and homeschooling, that put him in a situation where he learned to work with people who may not have always worked with. And then from that, he's gained a group of people that he still keeps in touch with to this day. And they're whatever they do with their Instagram chats and all of that. So it's been really nice to see that he has a new group of friends, not just from Atholton. And also, what my son Reese got from the program is just realizing that there are issues in Howard County that he can be a part of and make an impact. I remember him coming home when they had to work on their service project, and he said to me, "Mom, wow, there's a lot going on in Howard County where I could help." And I'm like, yeah, you're not in a bubble. There's a lot you can do. And I was so encouraged by the fact that he was able to be a part of a service project called Howard County Monumental, which was really focused on mental awareness. And they developed their own Instagram page, and they raised money for mental illness awareness. And I was very proud of him because he took this very personally, because last May, he had his tutor, unfortunately due to mental illness, take his own life. So he was very, very adamant of being a part of this program where they were able to raise over $1,000 to go back to mental illness and for mental health. And that Instagram page is still being run today by one of those students. So it's something that is still moving forward. So that was very, very impactful, and I was very proud of him. Question I had when I'm sitting in the parent spot, like, okay, gosh, was the time commitment. Because I had my own life too, and I knew I had a non-driver student that wanted to be a part of the program, but just looking at, can I make that commitment for my son? And would it be worth it? And my answer is yes, it was worth it. As basically from everything that I said today, that was my only concern. Could I make everything happen? And we made it happen, whether, you know, working with other, my spouse or other parents, we made sure he was participating in all the activities of the program. So thank you so much, Meg, for allowing me to share my aspect on the program.
Great. Thank you so much, Erica. I always love hearing you speak about it. It's awesome. So I just want to mention that we do have an ambassador program where we have representatives from each of the public schools and even some of the private schools that are students that graduated from our program last December, and they are a resource. Here is a list of the both public and the few of the private schools and our homeschool student, Megan. But they are a resource for you. I don't know if you know these students or not, but if you as a student would like to reach out to another student from your school that went through LU last year, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you to them. Maybe you know them, I'm not sure, but just so you know, they're there. And I know it's hard because people are not in school, but they are definitely a resource for you and can really give you sort of the behind the scenes info on the program. So that's the end of our formal presentation. I am going to...
Meg, I've got the questions from the chat box up, and we can
sharing. So it's
perfect.
There we go. Much better.
Awesome. So the first question was, where are the meetings held?
So typically in the past, the meetings have been held at the library. Typically, most of the meetings are at the Miller Library. Last year, since the libraries were not opened and still are not open, we did use the facilities at the Gary J. Arthur Community Center out in Glenwood. This year, again, we will have to wait and see what's going on with COVID and what facilities we can use, because with 50 students, and if we are required to social distance, and also we may be held to a group size, we have to be very cognizant of the space and the safety, and be able to have enough space. So we're waiting to see if the libraries may open, and if not, we will probably reach out to the Howard County Recreation and Parks and see if they will host us again for the fall.
The next question is, how do we apply, and can we apply as freshmen going into our sophomore year?
Sorry, you cannot apply as a freshman. You must apply during your sophomore year, and it's really the second semester of your sophomore year, which is now. We want typically all the students to be the same age, and we really have found that that time frame is sort of the sweet spot. It's summer after sophomore year, and it's before, and it ends before second semester junior year, which gets very busy with studying for exam, ACT, SAT, driving, all these things that are going on, starting to look at colleges. So we have found that that has been sort of the sweet spot of running the program over the years. And so students apply online. If you go to our website, leadershiphc.org, and you go under the Leadership U page, there is a link to apply. And then there's also a link for tuition assistance and a link for your references to submit their references for you. Perfect.
Okay, the next,
put it in the chat.
Yep. The next question is, how many applications do you typically receive? And then following that is, how many applicants are accepted?
So we take 50 students in our program. We try to take 25 males and 25 females, and we try to have every school within the county represented. So for example, if we have 15 students from Appleton apply, we're obviously not going to take 15 students from one school. We want to take, maybe 4 from each of the students within all of the public schools, as well as students who are attending private school but may live in Howard County, as well as homeschool. Typically, we could have anywhere from 60 to 85 applicants, but each year is different. We just don't know. But that's typically a number, just depends each year.
December 5th, was that a mandatory date, or what happens on that date?
December 5th is our final Sunday session. That actually, we are planning to host that at the Meeting House at Oakland Mills. That is our rehearsal for graduation, and we're praying that we can have our graduation in person, hopefully, fingers crossed, in 2021. But anyway, so that date is a mandatory date because that is when each of the project teams will be up on the stage rehearsing their graduation presentation. Typically, I don't know about this year, as with everything tied up in the air, we normally have about 200 to 250 people attend our graduation. Not sure if that will happen. It may only be parents and a few select invited guests for this year, but usually it is a fairly large crowd, and so we want our students to be comfortable and well prepared being on the stage and practicing, because as we all know, practice makes perfect. You know, the more you practice at things, the more comfortable you get at it. So that date is a mandatory date because you wouldn't want to let your team down and not be there to practice for graduation.
That's all the questions in the chat. Last call. Does anybody else have anything to ask of us? You can ask the students, you can ask our representative parent and steering committee members too. We're happy to take any kind of questions.
Students, one thing I do just want to say, I forgot to mention when I was talking about the interview, couple interview tips. You know, obviously it's important to be on time. That's a life skill. I hate to even say that, but you'd be surprised how many adults are always late. And it does not fare well when you're working. Employers do not like people who are late, either do schools and either do interviewers. So it's important to be on time, and whether that be virtual or be in person, you know, give yourself enough time to either, you know, log on your system so you're not struggling with Wi-Fi or whatever might be going on, because we all know there's the gremlins in there. Or if it is in person, you know, make sure you know where if your parents are driving you, make sure they know where they're going. It's really important that you leave yourself some extra travel time. The other tip is, obviously I had said before, is, you know, look professional. This is an interview. We are not trying to get you with the questions. We really want to put you at ease. We want to learn more about you, and, you know, we're not out to make it a struggle for you. And the other thing I just want to mention is it's important when you are interviewing that you prepare for your interview. Do a little research, look on our web page, read about what we've been doing. You can see some of the projects. Go look at the graduation and learn about the projects that the students implemented. And then be prepared to ask some questions. It's really important when you go to an interview that you've done your homework, because people will notice that. It really does set you apart from other people. And make sure you ask some good questions. You could ask about projects, you could ask about experiences, you could ask about the volunteers, or anything, you know, where do we go, anything, but it's really important to do your homework.
There is one additional question in the chat box about, can students who attend school outside of Howard County apply if they live in the county?
Absolutely. So we do get a number of students from NDP, from Spalding, from Gilman, McDonough, many of the Baltimore schools, but the students live in the county. So that is absolutely okay. Our requirement is that you either live or attend school in the county. So yes, absolutely.
That's it for questions from the chat box.
All
Any
right. So
final words of wisdom?
So students, I will be sending out, students and parents, I will be sending out sort of a, we are recording this, so if I can get a little assistance from our tech support, we'll send out the recording, so if you want to look at it again. But I'll send out some of the tips that I gave you tonight, and also just a reminder about the references, because if you are going to apply, I would highly suggest that you contact your references right away. And give them our website and share with them what you're doing so that they can submit the reference in a timely manner. So you'll be hearing from me either tomorrow or Thursday. So just look for an email from me. And thank you so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate your time, and feel free to email me. You all have my email. Feel free to email me with any questions that you have. I am happy to help anybody. So look forward to hearing from everybody and can't wait to read those applications. Good night.
Good night, everybody.